Hi everyone, welcome to True Sacred Union. I am Debbie Dubois. If this is your first time here, welcome in. Today I'm going to share something different and I'm very excited about it. I have something special to share that my very dear friend and business partner, Kimberley Aria, brought through in an automatic writing session just this week. It has to do with counterparts, twin flames, and the event. The information that came through really supports most of what I've heard through the QHHT sessions of Alice & Co, as well as really corroborates Alicia Brochet's experience in her QHHT session about the Rainbow Bridge and sacred counterparts. What I found so fascinating was the level of details that were included in these automatic writings. Some I had not heard of before, or at least to the level of details. It's like Aria knew that it was time to start giving us more specifics of what was about to unfold. And this information also includes some things that Hamish Bartholomeus and I had kind of been working on and putting together and piecing together actually a little while back, and it wasn't stuff that was commonly thought of, so it was included in these writings, which I thought was really crazy. So at my request, Kimberly was generous enough to do an audio recording for me and to give me permission to create this video for you so that we can share this information. I also wanted to take a moment to thank my friend Jan, who so graciously allowed me to use his digital art, AI generated photos that kind of give an idea of what's happening at the realm level as part of this video. And I think when you see them, you're going to see that it really goes right along with this story, which is fantastic. So thank you, Jan. I'm super excited about it because everything is lining up and pointing to a major event that's going to happen that's really going to make it possible to move outside this upside down false matrix system into something that we've called New Earth, Heaven on Earth, whatever you want to call it. Only you will know if this video is a piece of a puzzle for your consideration or if it's something that you just want to discount. As for me, I don't know how many more coincidences I need. I've been working on this for years, decades, and actually probably my whole entire life, even though I wasn't really sure what was coming. It's become more and more clear what it is. I feel it's getting very close, and I really hope that you enjoy the video that I made for you. Enjoy.
Hello, this is Kimberley Aria, as I call myself, my first name being Kimberly and Aria being that of my inner being, my higher self, the name that was given to me years ago. And the following is a transcript of a session that I did just with myself. I would call it maybe something like a trance state automatic writing. And when I do that, I just go into a very quiet place, meditate for a little bit. I start typing, and the first couple paragraphs is just allowing whatever to comes through to just come through. It kind of like, I guess, greases the wheels. And so then I'm able to start asking questions, which I type the question and then the answers just come, and I'm typing as it's flowing into me. And so I'm just going to go into that right now. Here we go. Please allow your mind to relax and the words will flow so there is no resistance or preconceived ideas that are intruding upon the space of this communication, as this is the biggest trick or the most difficult aspect of getting messages through from the other side of the veil. Much has been lost that has been the ability to access this knowledge and information, but all will be restored before the final days of this realm's journey of existence are over. You would do well to make this a regular practice, to exert your own authority over any information that comes through, that it be filtered through the lens of your own inner knowing, and not to allow intrusive ideas and thoughts to come in. To maintain a pure and clear channel to this information is of the utmost importance, as you are exponentially growing in your ability to access this. You have only to ask, and the information will be given. Know that you can trust this method if all other intrusive energies are put aside and that you are locked in like a compass to your own inner being and your own true north. What is the mission and purpose of twin flames, or original pairs as some call them? There is a great break or a rift within the human psyche, a split or schism, you would call it, that is centered on love, relationships, and partnerships. The true origin of this split is so far back in time that it is hazy even for us to fully be able to recount within a short time, as it grew layer upon layer as time and circumstances demanded it. But this is why there is so much difficulty in partners being able to come together with harmony and balance, and in a way that doesn't create codependency. This is what you have come to heal by electing to be one of the 144,000 original pairs who came here to incarnate now on the ascension timeline, otherwise known as the end zone of time for this realm. There's great difficulty in getting to know another person because of the interference that has occurred because of this rift. There used to be much harmony, and while it still exists at higher levels of creation, within the confines of this constructed reality, it is not the same. There needs to be a complete cleansing and clearing of the templates upon which humans operate to be able to interact with each other in the highest and most harmonious way possible. You are here to clear and to bring about the union of these partners through your own experience of the things that you've had to do to get where you are now. You are one of many, and in truth, all human beings on this planet have an original pair, as this is portrayed in the Eden story, although in a much distorted state. However, those of you who were numbered among the 144,000 are a unique subset with a specific purpose or mission that specifically involves the partner in that mission. Whereas some will unite with their original pair when they cross over, you are set to meet and to carry out this mission through the various occurrences in your life. Am I close, or is there much work yet to be done? You are getting to the home stretch, at least as far as it is concerned regarding what can be done while you are still in separation. Not to say that you won't grow and increase in your ability to be compatible and to connect with your divine counterpart as it stands, but there's little left to do on that front until you are with him in person. What is going to happen, and when will the realm we're in be closed out? Or is this even the right way to put it? I'm honestly not even sure. The realm is currently splitting in half. There are and will be two sides of the same coin, as it were. These two sides are experiences you will have in different places at the same time. You can't fully comprehend how this works, but from your perspective, you will have a gateway or a portal that you will cross over into a new place, a hidden zone, which will allow you to begin to practice and expand your new gifts, talents, and abilities. And you will also have a reprieve from the heaviness of this realm. People will cross over into it when they're ready. You might think of it as an in-between place that everyone will eventually get into before they cross over into what you would call New Earth, but which is in fact a whole new realm. This realm is being closed off and shut down for good. It will be accessible in the form of a holographic reality that you can visit, but you would be an unseen visitor, and what you would witness is the replication of the various timelines, but not in fact the real thing. It is all information that has been gathered and retained and kept for the purpose of a historical record that can be preserved forever. This is very important, for once this realm is closed out, it is not an experiment that will be repeated, but we must know how we got here to avoid getting here again, as it were. Where are our higher selves, our inner beings? Is that what is over there? Your inner being or higher self is the accumulation of all your knowledge, experiences, etc. And as such, it is not a literal or physical being. It is a body of information that exists and which is accessible to you as you are more able to tap into it. Once you have the veil completely removed, which is in effect your memories of all the timelines and lifetimes you've lived in one vessel, the vessel which you currently reside in can and will be able to access this, but it isn't a person per se. Does a person who crosses over in death have access to all of this information contained within their inner being or not? Not under the old system, they did not. The old system was completely hijacked, even on the other side, as you would call it, so information was still limited. The incarnation cycle was a hijack and wasn't the original intent for this creation or for this experience. It occurred as a looping time warp, and every time or lifetime you existed in became another version of yourself that was fractalized, and no complete compilation of all lifetimes was in one place. You could access a sliver here and there within this realm, but only a much higher, out of this realm version of yourself had all the information together in one place. But this is not a place that is accessible from here. Once you cross over or out of this place, you will have access to it. Will we have access to this inner being, full access to it in the in-between? Yes, you will, but there is still a certain amount of growing up into the ability to access it as you are doing now. It is a progression, but it will go much faster once you are over there. What is the in-between place like? It is, or it will be to you, a paradise. It is a very physical place, and you will physically be there, not here. However, you can cross back here into any time that you wish, so it can be gone a long time, but when you come back, it will still be now. Why would we want to cross over and then come back? What is the purpose of that? There is still some time that must pass on this planet before it completely closes out. This is predicated on how long each person needs to be here in this place of waking up as you've already gone through. The gateway opens for anyone who is ready to cross over. Will we be able to affect changes here on this side while we were over there making progress? And is time linear? Is being over there a reward? Or why would some people go over sooner than others? No, it is not a reward. It is literally the next step everyone must take. There is much integration that needs to take place in an environment where it's possible. You will go through big shifts and changes in this realm before you cross over, but the shifts and changes that take place over there are in the form of unseen connections, shifts and changes to your body. It's not at all unlike an embryo growing into a fetus and then being ready for birth in a given period of time, in an environment that is perfectly suited for them. This place is not conducive to those changes taking place, but here are people who would not be able to survive being pushed into that in-between space too soon, so the old realm needs to remain open a little longer, and each person will cross over when they're ready. Okay, so why would we go back and then come back here at all then? It's a personal choice. Some might not choose to do so at all, but many will because they have loved ones that they want to help usher over to the other side. Coming back with or without a gap in time, for example, you could say, I'm going on a trip, I'd be gone a day or 2 weeks or longer and then come back after that. But instead of going anywhere, you were going to the other side. Anyway, there will be many who will do this until more and more have crossed over. When will the bridge or gateway be opened, and what occurs to cause it to open? An event. You would call it an event, but it is an energetic pulse that literally opens the gate. What happens with the energetic pulse? There is a wave of consciousness. It will hit everyone on the planet to varying degrees. Some will be more aware of it than others, but it will be felt by all to some degree. Will people go to sleep when it comes? There is a reverberation that will ripple across the planet that will continue for some time, gradually waning. There are some people who will be greatly affected by it and need to sleep, but for many people it will seem like a glitch, like lost time, that you were or will completely forget or feel like you've forgotten what happened. This is how it is for people who are less conscious. For those of you who are waiting and ready for this, you will definitely know when it is happening. You may or may not sleep through it, but you will very much want to be in a place where you can sit in the energy and feel it throughout your body, as it will be euphoric. Many will see it. Most will not. It will be as if time stood still. People will be in the middle of something and the next minute think, what am I doing here? What was I just saying? Etc. How long will it last? For some, several hours. For others who are more in tune, it will be felt for several days. Once it happens, what next? How will we see a gate that we can go through to get to the in-between place? It will happen during the energy wave. You may be sitting in the feeling of it, and it will be like a dream, only clearer. You won't feel normal, that's for sure. You'll know what is happening, but your surroundings will become blurry and distant and hard to see. If you are ready to cross over when this first wave hits, you will know, and you will just stand up and go. It will open right in front of you wherever you are. So if I cross over into the in-between place, how long will I be there before I'm ready to come back? Of course, time is different there, so it's not quite possible to say, but there will just come a time when you'll know that you're ready to take a mission trip back to the other side, and you may do so from time to time. What will I have here when I'm back? The same house, the same life, same jobs, chores, things to do? How will I accomplish all those things? You will be able to wrap things up with incredible speed and move things forward with ease, no matter what it is you're doing. In your case, you can ensure the house is finished and things are set up according to how you want them. You can keep on living here in a linear sense continually, or you might skip a few months here and there, so you don't necessarily have to live through every minute of your time back. You can also pop in and out as needed in such a way that there is no one the wiser, as it were. We'll be fully aware of both sides. If so, do we tell other people about it? Will they think we're crazy? And if they don't see the gate open during the flash because they're not ready, when and how does it open for them later? So many questions. There are many subsequent waves or reverberations that will act as a sweeping up process to gather and open to people the next phase so they can walk through it later. It will always be in waves, though, as they are required for the portals or gates to open. Each person who is ready when the next wave comes will be able to see the gate and walk through. You and others will be there to greet them when they get there. You will most definitely want to talk about this, for your excitement can't be contained. At first, most people will not be ready to hear it, however, so discretion will be advised. You will know who to speak to it of and when the time comes. So what do twins or original partners have to do with this? The first wave of people who cross over will be the divine counterparts. The awake and aware one will cross over first, unless they're both ready, in which case there will be two on the other side. In most cases, however, our partner agreed to stay on this side for a while because this is where your unique connection influences the planet in preparing to strengthen the bond between the old and the new. You will be crossing over first, and then your original partner will come soon after. From your perspective, it will seem very soon, but time over there is just different, so your perception of time is different. You can spend a lot of time there, but then come out and it's only a minute later. This is how it will seem when you cross over. Your work together as divine counterparts has been accomplished to the greater degree. Do not underestimate what has taken place and then the impact on you both. It is much bigger and more intense than you can possibly imagine, but there is less to show for it than you would like in this realm. But from a higher perspective, the work you've done, and your original partner has done as well, has had a profound effect on humanity, not to mention on you. This is hard to see from your perspective, but it is true. Are all twins going through that portal? Yes, all twins and every living person with a true human soul will eventually go through these portals as they open for them. By original pairs, I assume you mean the so-called 144,000, correct? Yes, that is what I mean. So the original pairs who volunteered to do this particular job took on a very difficult task, being forerunners to the wave of consciousness. You would know it as the text from Isaiah saying, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord." This is the role you took on, but it is varied and different for each person as to what exactly they would do. You might say they are the banner holders. As in the past, the flags are one of the most important ways, or the only way, that a general could really know what was going on in the battlefield, as the various troops or sections of squadrons and battalions each have their flags. Often the flag bearers were targeted because if they fell, the battle would become chaotic and the general who was watching them from afar wouldn't know what was happening on the field. This is also an important role for others on the field, as they can see the flag and they know where their battalion was if they got separated. They would follow the flag bearers through the battle. If someone took out the flag bearer, another would have to take it up. But for them, in the confusion of the battle, this didn't always occur. So your role is that of a way shower in this battle. For a battle it truly is. This is not to say you are more special or important than anyone else, but it is a distinctive and vital role in this battle. As flag bearers, your role is to mark the progress of the troops and in many ways lead and to be at the forefront of the battle. You volunteered to do this, and in this role, part of the task was to be awakened much earlier than the masses of people on Earth. At this point, we understand that you are exhausted, worn out, and battle-weary, but it is very important that you do not give up. The time of the closing out of this battle is upon us even as we speak. As original pairs or twins, your counterpart and you work in tandem with each other. In some cases, this is done with awareness on the part of both partners, but at times, as in your case, the awareness is rather one-sided. This is perfectly okay because, as you know, each person has their own specific role in this, and every role is vitally important for the overall progress of the dismantling of the Matrix. In your case, your partner's role had much to do with the breaking ancestral patterns, and in his own way he is doing this. Your role had more to do with emerging as a creator of tools and resources to help and support those in awakening. This is being done through your cards, which, if you could but see how great an impact you have had on thousands of people who own and use them, not to mention the tens of thousands who have seen cards read, you would understand that your role is far more impactful than you realize. Did we really think before we incarnated in this lifetime that we would be able to come together in union? What happened and how did that hijacking occur? Twins' original plan was to come together and to do joint missions, as it were, as partners. But as often is the case, we are overzealous and overconfident when we faced obstacles that we're not fully aware of yet just how hard it would be. We were all a bit blindsided by the level of vicious attack that occurred in many diverse forms on both partners. Please know, however, that your mission is not a failure because of this. Much has still been accomplished on an energetic level, but this is why it is taking longer than it might or could have. In other words, the same things that beset the original partners coming into union also affected all of humanity and made it very difficult to move ahead. This came in the form of manipulation, AI programs, and of course the fact that all human energy is so deeply entwined with the creation of the Matrix that there was not a chance that you would have to be able to overcome all the obstacles. Thus a plan B was affected, which was to follow more of an individual journey or path and work through whatever things were brought up via the connection, but within a solo manner. I want to know more about the event and why you say a portal, but others say a rainbow bridge comes first. So it is a matter of semantics, and descriptions vary from person to person. One could use these terms interchangeably, but even rainbow bridge is a metaphor. Portal is a more accurate description, in my view, but if you want to call it a bridge, you certainly can. It is very colorful and full of light, making the term rainbow most accurate. What happens to us when the first energy wave comes? Are there some physical changes that take place in our bodies and those of others, whether they cross over or not? The energy waves have been continuously coming to Earth to prepare you for the bigger or biggest of waves that will hit the planet. They are all the same kind of energy, but finely tuned for specific tasks. Some adjusting people's mental space, others their emotional bodies, and still others working on preparing the physical body for the changes that are coming. These waves are perfectly calibrated or designed to interact with the mitochondria within the cells of your body to change how they react to energetic impulses. You might say it is a tuning process. The frequencies that come after this are much more intense, and if they hit you before this fine-tuning takes place, you would be most uncomfortable. Would people die from exposure to these waves? Some will expire due to the energies, but these would be what you would call irreparable or non-human beings. Anyone who is on track for ascension, which would be all human beings on this planet, will be changing and shifting with these energies. Despite all of the manipulation that has been done to people on this planet, your forms or vessels are still uniquely able to harmonize with these energies. That does not mean, however, that all humans react to them in the same way. People whose consciousness is lower are like dry sponges, and it will take much more time and exposures to these waves, as they have not done anything to truly prepare themselves for this. Thus, they will take more time in this realm before being able to travel to the in-between place. Where is the in-between place? Is it here, or in the fifth realm, or a subset of it? We use the word in-between because so it is. It is outside of this construct, this universe that has been corrupted, and which is fully entangled with the Matrix. The in-between is something like a hospital ship, if you will, that will provide a perfect environment and conditions conducive to enable your form or body to be regenerated to its highest version. You will still indeed have a physical form or body in the in-between place, so it's not the same thing as being in spirit, like passing over. When you first get to the in-between, you will be very much like you are now. The changes to your body will be minute or minuscule. The human form has been greatly altered from its original template, but the original template is still carried within you. You have everything written in the code of your physical and energetic DNA to repair and regenerate to your original form. The in-between place is free from the manipulation and frequencies that have been implanted in this matrix that have caused, over time, the human form to degenerate to its current condition. Wouldn't it be possible for us to instantaneously change into new bodies? Not without dying. If you died, you would be able to transfer into a new body instantly without any issues. This is why people who have died and no longer need to change from a physical form like you have are already up in what you would call the fifth realm, or New Earth or Heaven. They also have a physical form there, but don't need the in-between place, as their soul was easily able to embody its original form. What is the in-between place like? Does it look like a planet? Is it a copy of this one? It would very much appear to be like Earth that you currently live in, except everything is in its original uncorrupted state. It is, however, not the same as New Earth or Heaven because it is specifically calibrated for being conducive for the human physical form as it currently exists, for those who wish to transform from this form into their immortal bodies without dying, to be able to make changes. That really is the main purpose. Although, of course, there are more than just physical and bodily changes that take place there. There's also a consciousness overhaul that will completely change you over time. Like a cocoon or a baby in utero, this is the perfect incubator, if you will, for your body to undergo these changes. Once we've changed, do we have any issues or problems when we come back here? Will it be uncomfortable or just difficult for us physically? It will be a mismatch for you when you're back here, but that is not to say you are in pain or uncomfortable physically. It is more of a trial to be here from an emotional, physical or psychological standpoint. That said, there will be many changes happening here on this planet so that people who aren't quite ready for the in-between place will still be undergoing vast changes as well, albeit slower than you'll experience here. So what exactly is the purpose of twins being on one side and one on the other when this happens? There's an interconnectedness between your physical bodies, your energy, and the world you live in. This is true for any place. The saying, "you create your reality," is a true thing. So this in-between place exists in some sense already, but until it is inhabited by people whose energy is required to form it, it is more of a thought form or an idea than a real physical place. It is very much like the slit experiment, where something must be observed for it to behave physically in a certain way. So in some sense, it is necessary for a smaller few to go over and into it first, so that it begins to take form. And since the idea of it and conception of it is specifically for you as human beings, it is necessary that some be physically present there to fire it up, if you will. There is a connection between the old world and the new, and the act of one being on one side and the other already in it is part of cementing it into reality, as it were. It is difficult to explain this, but this is a very real thing that must take place. The in-between place is a real realm, not a ship floating or flying in a place that already exists. So you must be like forerunners in this matrix reality to show the way. You will be acting as forerunners in the in-between place as well. I heard from Elisa Berchet's QHHT session that she saw original pairs each hold a key, which they used to open the rainbow bridge from each side of the gateway. How does that open the portals for others to cross over? Original pairs were active in the process of creating the realm that eventually became corrupted, and in a sense were involved in creating the matrix, whether intentionally or not. This act of using keys from both sides to open up the rainbow portals or bridge is symbolic. Remember, the Divine Feminine leads the way, so in most cases it is the Divine Feminine counterpart of the original pairs or twin flames who goes over in the first wave. This is by intention and by design, as it is a necessary step in the process of opening the portals for everyone else to be able to cross. After going through the initial process of your own rejuvenation, you will return. From Earth's perspective, only a moment will have passed. It is at this point that the green light, as it were, will be given for the original 144,000 original pairs to come into union. Things which have held you back before will seem to magically dissolve, and the natural process of reunification will begin to occur. This is the literal process unfolding, which is symbolized by twins who each hold a key, will physically open the gates from either side of the portal for the rest of humankind to walk through. Understand this, the process of ascension is the process of reunion. This is why your personal clarion call to mission was "Send me to unite." The process of original pairs reuniting is part of the process of every human being reuniting with the source of their being, their inner being, and source itself. It's about remembering who we are as divine creator beings. Why is there this discrepancy in terms or descriptions of what happens? For example, you say the rainbow bridge is going from the in-between to the new earth, or others say the rainbow bridge is what takes us out of here. Everyone has their own interpretation or way of describing things. Additionally, there's a lot of copying of terms or using terms that other people use, which may or may not be applied to the same aspects of this process. I've used terms I felt best describe this from my perspective, but this does not mean my telling of it is the be-all end-all. If our energy is needed to be present to help form this place called the in-between, how is it that the fifth realm existed without us being there? The fifth realm is a place that we started from, and you've already created or had a role in creating it. This is where the original pairs originated from, and Aria, the being known as you, formed out of a higher being. Your energy is already imprinted on it. The in-between place is a new place being created just for the purpose of providing a bridge. This is why I referred to the rainbow bridge as being on the other side of the in-between, because you will be crossing over from the in-between to the fifth realm on something that more resembles a bridge than a portal. When the time comes, it naturally opens and is easy to cross whenever you wish. There's not really a specific bridge to cross from the matrix realm to the in-between realm. The only way to travel is through portals. Once you cross over, you can come back at will. However, as in, you can conjure a portal whenever you want, if you want. Okay, so we do have some questions about family members going over in the first wave, etc. Do they? What does that look like? As I've said before, time is very, very different between the two places. You will cross over in the portal that opens before you and be there for as long as you need to fully embody your immortal form. This amount of time will vary from one person to another, but you will not feel like rushing the process. It is truly like a vacation planet in that it is blissful, peaceful, and so unlike anything you've ever experienced. But as I've said before, this place is very different in that it's a time between time, and time doesn't track over there like it does here. And if or when you return here, you can come back anytime you want. That is why it's irrelevant to ask questions such as who goes first and do any children go at the same time I do, etc. From a linear perspective here on Earth, there will be wave after wave of portals opening for whomever is ready to walk through them. And it simply won't matter whether your kids come over on the same day as you. That said, there will of course be people who have small children and babies who are dependent on them for care. From the perspective of the child, it will be as if you never left. Initially, rejuvenation is a very individual process. There will be aides, helpers, medical professionals, if you will, who will be tending to those who come over. But it won't be long until you're upon your own 2 feet, and you could or would enjoy having your small children with you there. But this is not something you will rush. Additionally, it is not conducive for people who are left behind to have a circumstance where suddenly many of the people they know and love or depend on disappear for any significant length of time. You could say that your role or task on Earth within the Matrix is not truly over until everyone crosses over. This in-between place is an important aspect of the process of transitioning, while in physical form, when there are people at so many different levels of readiness. It's not unlike a school that has grades for different ages of children, and within those grades, different classes for those at different levels of ability. So back to your question about why you would want to come back. Well, to provide continuity for your closest loved ones, as well as for the beings on Earth, as they go through their own process of being ready. This will look different for different people. Some, like your friend who has sold everything and is living a very solitary life as a van lifer whose girls are in college and doing their own thing, has more freedom to be gone than someone whose children are small. What about children? When do they cross over? Some will cross over with their parents, but even over there, the initial process of rejuvenation is individual. But the time over there is different as well. It's very difficult to describe as it doesn't compute to the mind affected by the Matrix. Okay, so when we do come back here, will we remember being gone and what took place over there? Or are our memories of it erased? You can't unknow what you know. You can't unsee what you've seen. This is a very real experience that will stay vividly with you when you come back. It seems to me that coming back will feel like a punishment and be so hard to do. Well, think of it this way. You've been to some very beautiful places, right? And when you got back, you wanted to tell everybody about it, and you wanted to get other people there to visit there too, right? It is not much different than that. Besides, things on Earth will begin to change very rapidly. It will not be nearly as bad over here as you think. You are a battle-weary soul at this time, so it's understandable that you're not keen on the idea of returning once you've been to the in-between place. However, when the time comes for you to return, you will feel differently. This is why you've chosen to go through this process while living instead of dying and incarnating into your original form. So what kinds of changes do we see take place here because of that first big wave and subsequent waves? How does it affect people on the planet who aren't ready yet to go to the in-between place? Think back on your process of awakening. It was very rapid and happened very quickly for you, even under conditions where the Matrix was still very much in its strongest and most restrictive form. As you know, since then, the planet has already undergone significant changes, and the people within it are all waking up to varying degrees. Additionally, the matrix itself is softening and will continue to fall apart or break away, especially once the first big wave hits. Everyone will be affected, as it will serve to break up what is left of the matrix and sweep away all of the loose debris of it. The people will notice changes in that they're not being manipulated like they were. Those who were doing the manipulation will either be gone because they are recycled back to source, or they will be undergoing changes of their own. It will be very much like waking up from a bad dream for everyone. There will be massive changes taking place as things that have been restricted will loosen up and the flow of energy will begin to improve, and everything that was once held back from you will become more and more available. That is to say, those who remain, and of course you'll get to see all of this as well. This is another reason you've chosen to do it this way, and that you wanted to see it for yourself, how the matrix dissolved and how people begin to rise into their truest and purest form once the controls are shaken off. There will be much upheaval and shocking things taking place, but it is truly a show that you'll not want to miss. And once you're in your higher and better form and return here to watch this show, you'll feel very differently about it than you do now. During that time, you will be able to travel back and forth between here and the in-between place at will, which you'll do for continued rejuvenation and relaxation. If you wish to let any time pass on Earth, in some cases you'll tell people where you've gone off to, but in most cases you'll be on a trip. In many cases, you won't really want much time to go between, because what is left of time here on Earth is very short, and you may want to witness all of it. Once all of those who are near and dear to you cross over, however, you may leave Earth for good and stay in the in-between until they are all ready to cross over the Rainbow Bridge together with you. It is all a very big deal to be here, to be there, and then to cross over. There will be many celebrations indeed. You said things don't last very long here once the first wave hits. How long are we talking? Again, time is difficult to predict accurately. However, you must understand that the Earth as you know it is so completely inverted by the matrix that there will be very little left of it, as you know, once the matrix begins to dissolve. I don't mean that the trees, animals, plants, mountains, rivers, and streams begin to disappear, but that the construct, being as it was a corruption of the original and had created such an overlay that you were familiar with, that once it's gone, it's not really something to stick around for. People in general on Earth will begin feeling restless and done, if they haven't already. As soon as they are ready to go to the in-between, they will want to, and as all things go, there's a momentum that builds. In a very short time, there will be word on the street about the in-between place, and this word will spread. People will see changes taking place around them, and their own inner knowing will kick in like never before without interference. We can't say with accuracy how long this will take, but it will go faster than you can now imagine. This is why it won't be such a trial as you think it would be to come back and watch it unfold. You will be rejuvenated, you will look younger and feel amazing, you will get to watch everyone else go through what you've gone through, and you will of course help them. And that, my friends, is all for now. Thank you for listening. Aria.
Thanks so much for watching. Kimberly and I really welcome any comments or feedback that you might have, or if you have some questions that you'd like to find out to clarify some things that you might want to know about the event or twin flames, go ahead and put it in the comments below. We are totally open to having her go back and do some more automatic writing to get some information that might answer those questions. We also think we're going to do a follow-up video where we discuss some of these ideas, and we'll probably pull out our oracle cards and we'll probably do some shuffling and find out, what the cards say, if the cards give us any more information. So we're really interested in ferreting out as much information as possible. I mean, we're all sitting here kind of, waiting for things to shift and change. And this is an opportunity for us to get in touch with our inner being and inner beings and work towards that end. So as far as I would also say that we're probably going to be doing a True Sacred Union roundtable on this. I think that would be a good topic of conversation, especially if you guys open up some more, questions and you want to find out more information. We'll go ahead and do that. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you know of anyone that you think would like this video, please feel free to share it. And if you like it, a thumbs up would be great. And if you've been watching my content and you want more content on Twin Flame Sacred Counterparts, the event, and what I talk about even more than that is all about the empowerment that you get with connecting with the inner being, please give my channel a follow. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, take care. Bye.